Welcome to Chasing Hard podcast, where we talk about trusting God when life doesn't turn out the way we planned. I can think of a few occasions and a few different circumstances and situations where life didn't turn out the way I planned. It's just me today because I want to talk about something. I enjoy having guests on. I enjoy getting to hear their stories and how they navigate the disappointments of life. We all have them. I'm sure you do too. One of the things that has sort of been weighing on me lately happened a few weeks ago. I work at a church, and I was at an all staff meeting where all the staff comes together and we worship and we do. It's more of a time of sharing, vision casting, metrics of the things that have happened in the past. And one of the persons speaking was talking about marriage and how the staff leaders and their wives, have a heart and compassion for marriages, and how some of the wives minister to wives of ministers and people on staff in the ministry, which is great. I mean, that's great. We are looking for authenticity in this world. If we're not looking for anything else, we're looking for real, for true, for people to share real life. We're looking to be seen and heard. And then after he was talking about ministering to marriages and walking with the wives whose husbands are in ministry, and they support and do ministry with their husbands. And then because he has a heart and compassion for marriages, he talked about divorce and how sorry he was for anyone on staff that had gone through a divorce. And there are several, some that I know of, some that I'm sure I don't. And I know it's hard and it's difficult. But I had a few conversations actually after that meeting from some women who were frustrated with the meeting, even though they understand the heart behind it. They appreciated the words, the thoughtfulness for addressing and loving on those who have gone through divorce. They appreciated the ministry that takes place with wives who aren't on staff, but whose husbands are. They appreciate how the church and the staff pours into marriages and wants to come alongside and support godly marriages. But they were struggling with the in between, because there's an in between. Like, they didn't fall into either category. They didn't fall into the marriage that was working to be a healthy marriage and has normal, natural struggles, nor did they fit into the divorce category. They fit into the category of being in a difficult marriage, yet choosing to stay in the marriage and honoring God and the vows that they made and to their husbands, and honoring the vows they made to their husbands and honoring their boundaries while doing those things. And it's a hard road. It's a hard balancing act, but it's a real thing. And I feel like it's a bigger thing than most churches know about, what than our church knows about. Because who wants to talk about that? That's one of those, when life doesn't turn out the way you planned, kind of a scenario. Like, when you get married, typically you have it all planned out. You have a bright future ahead of you. And then real life happens. And real life can look different for every single person. Real life can look like sickness and disease and incapacitating the spouse from normal life and from being able to work, even to help support the family. I know a few. I know it can look like losing children and the toll that that takes on not only your personal life and heart, but the marriage and the relationship as well, and how sometimes marriages don't survive that loss. It can look like being married to an addict, an alcoholic, someone who's in recovery, someone who isn't. It can look like verbal and emotional abuse. It can look like depression. It can look so many different ways that you can't, in my opinion, sum marriage up in a, we're pouring into marriages, the marriages that are following after God, and we're pouring into people who have been divorced. There's a middle ground, and maybe it's not even a middle ground. Maybe it's there are other places in between. And what do you do with those people who fall in the in between? This is not a new topic for me. I talk with many women who don't fit into a this or that category, who don't fit into a black or white, who aren't just married or just divorced. They're married with complications, yet they feel called to stay. And so how can we as the church, how can we as a body of believers come alongside those men and women who feel called to stay, who feel that Esther Ruth calling? Maybe it's more of a Ruth calling to stay in a situation they didn't have to stay in, but chose to stay in it because they felt like God was calling them to stay in it. And they felt like they could honor God best with staying in the situation that they were in this situation, this life event that didn't turn out the way they planned. So that's what this podcast is all about. That's why I talk to these people and have them share their hard parts of life. Life's not all hard. It's not all sad and depressed, but it's not all butterflies and roses either. Life can be difficult. And for you who are going through that hard in between time, to you who are feeling called to stay, whatever that looks like, I want to honor you today. It's not easy. I want to honor you for choosing to follow God in the hard things. That's what chasing hard is all about. Because when you choose to follow after Jesus, you're chasing hard things because sometimes you're called to do the hard thing. It's a good thing. It's an honoring thing, but it's a hard thing nonetheless. And I just want to take the time to honor you and whatever that situation is for you, whatever it looks like for you, whatever you are walking through, whatever you are living through, whatever you have lived through, whatever you will continue to live through. That's hard. That's difficult. I see you. I see you. But more importantly, God sees you and he honors you and he loves you and he is ecstatic when you talk to him. He's ecstatic about your presence. He rejoices over you with singing because of the choices that you are making on a daily basis to follow him in the thing where he has placed you. You're seen, you are heard, and you are honored. And I just wanted to take a little bit of time today to do that. Thank you for listening. I will be back next week. I hope you are too.